Hello there, everyone. Hope everybody's doing well. It's good to be with you again. This is week number 2, part 2 of the COVID update, coronavirus. And thank God for being here. Thank God for being saved. Let me tell you right now, the presentation for this one is on the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page. It is pinned to the top of the comments. Sister Celia has pinned them to the top of where the comments would be. So please download that now. Get your ink pens and your pencils out and all of that, because we do want you to take notes as we get going. We're going to, this is going to be meant to be pretty informative tonight. So I am going to go a little fast, but I want it to be informative and make sure you get it. And I'm sure there'll be questions. I have my lovely assistant with me again, Sister Tanya Sandridge. So as we go, please send questions. She will field those questions for me. All right. I took the time at the beginning. Hopefully you have gotten a hold of the presentation. All right. So please get the presentation. Again, it is at the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page. It is pinned to the top of the comments section. Please get that now, and then we can go from there. All right. Thank the Lord. I can see that it is pinned there now. So you should be able to see the presentation there. So let's get going. Again, I want to get through this and don't want to hold you too long, but I know that there are questions. So we'll see how it just flows. Okay. So if you look at page 1, again, I underlined coronavirus disease. You'll see where I underlined some letters in each word. I underlined in coronavirus, the CO and the VI. That's what COVID stands for. And then, of course, they found it in 2019. This is the disease. This virus, the coronavirus is the virus. COVID-19 is the disease itself, right? So, but I want to read a scripture. Thank you, Pastor Dukes, if you're on, for reminding me of this scripture. This is Exodus 12:3. Now, we knew that when the children of Israel were running from Pharaoh, God had them protected, and he told them, when you go into your house, I'm going to put blood over the posts, and you stay in the house because I'm sending a plague. And if you do what I tell you to do, you'll be okay. But I want to read this verse again for those who are just joining. The presentation for today is pinned at the top of the comments page on the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page. Okay. All right. If I remember, I'll mention it again. All right. So now this scripture in Exodus 12:13, it says, and the blood shall be to you for a token. Listen to this, upon the house where you are. So the Lord's like, you got to be in the house for this to happen correctly. So where the house where you are, this is going to be a token for you. The blood shall be. And when God said, I'm sending the death angel, and when I see the blood that's on the house where you are inside of it, I'll pass over you. This is where Passover came from. I'll pass over you, right? And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt. So even in the Bible, God said, listen, shelter in place, put the blood over the post, and you'll be okay, right? Thank the Lord. Let's move on to today's agenda. Again, the presentation is pinned at the top of the comments page at the Church of God of Chicago Facebook. So please go there and you'll see the presentation. I'm on page 2. And again, just the agenda. Last week we dealt with the basics of coronavirus. You can see that presentation and the video, and I hope it doesn't put you to sleep. Number 2, today we're going to deal with disease and disparity, not despair, but disparity. We'll talk about what that is. And next week we'll deal with what we need to do. And then lastly, we'll deal with testing, tracking, treatment, and vaccines. Thank the Lord. Page 3. Page 3 is a familiar page that I will keep in each presentation, Lord willing. Again, it is about washing your hands. Let's not lose that fire for washing our hands, right? And also do it correctly, right? Wet your hands first. Put soap on your hands. Scrub, 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 20 seconds. rinse them, dry them, and that's how you do it, right? And if possible, number 2, stay home if possible. If you're not working or you don't have to be out, stay home, protect yourself. Number 3, I want to spend just a little bit of time on number 3, wear a mask. Now, everyone, here, wear a mask. Make sure it fits well. This is not good. Walking around with your nose uncovered, that won't work. You don't want it to be loose, so you want to fit it tightly. You want to squeeze on the nose where it fits the nose well, okay, and covers the chin. That's what you want to do, okay? If it's open, it's not going to do the same thing, and there's a purpose for wearing a mask. Every one of us needs to think differently. I'm going to tell you this right now. We're at almost 1 million confirmed cases of this virus in the United States. And we know based on some data that about 20 to 50% of people who actually have the virus, these are people we haven't even tested yet. About 20 to 50% of everybody who has the virus don't even know they have it. So what's the purpose of the mask? I wear the mask, so I'm going to act as if I have the virus. I'm going to wear the mask so I won't give it to you. You will wear the mask so you won't give it to me. You need to act as if you have the virus also. So this is the purpose of the mask, to make sure we're not spreading it, okay? Because remember, I just told you, of all the people who actually have the virus, and we don't know how many that is, we're at almost 1 million. You can easily multiply that 3 or 4 times. We just don't know because we're not testing everyone. But everyone needs to act as if they have the virus. You wear a mask so that you won't give it to someone, and I wear my mask so I won't give it to you, and we all protect each other. Make sense? All right? Then the third part of this, the fourth part of this, I should say, is the sneezing. The purpose of the mask is also, if you sneeze, today you can almost get jumped for sneezing. If you sneeze, it gets caught in here, right? If you cough, it gets caught in here. You're not spreading it. Without it, you can see the words I have there. The virus can travel over 20 feet and still effectively infect someone. Then lastly, on this page, the best material for face mask. I got a lot of questions on face masks last week, so we included a link where they talk about the best material for face masks, etc. So now you have that link that you can use for your own purposes. Now, let's go on to the next page. Let's go to page 4. This is where we're going to start getting into it. Again, for those who are just joining, you can find the presentation at the Church of God of Chicago Facebook. It is pinned, the presentation is pinned to the top of the comments section, okay? Now, Church of God of Chicago, I want to talk about Beyond the Cough. So there's 2 parts on this specific page I'd like to deal with. That is, during a person who has an infection right now, and then what they're finding is happening to people after they, so to speak, get over the virus. You survive it and you get better, all right? So now, number 1, this is beyond the cough. Here's the disease. We know that most people will look and they'll say cough, fever, and, maybe hard to breathe. Yeah, you better get checked. You may have it. Well, I've highlighted something in red also. Another symptom is nothing at all or very mild. There are a huge number of people, again, of everybody who has it, 20 to 50% of everyone who has it. This is not just people who tested. Most people we're not testing. Most people who have it, 20 to 50% of them don't even know they have it. So this is very important that we understand this. How do you know you have it for sure? You've got to be tested. That's the only way you really know for sure. Some people, the data is showing, some of you, probably in December, January, February, you had a terrible flu. You may have even lost your sense of smell, and it took you a long time to get over it. Well, guess what? It may be a good idea for you to get tested for antibodies, because the data is showing that many people actually had the virus and just didn't know it, okay? So now let's move on. I want to move on to the next part about age. Higher than 60 years of age is very key because these are the people who are getting the worst of the disease. And unfortunately, many actually perish with the disease. However, that's not all. Less than 60 years old is also key, and I'll tell you why very shortly. The other thing, I want to spend just a few minutes on this next part with high blood pressure. What's been found is this. You don't have to be a scientist to know this, but I want you to write this down. If you have high blood pressure, and if you are being treated for high blood pressure, or you have a loved one who's being treated for high blood pressure, I want you to do this. I want you to write the name of their medications down. I want you to call yours or their healthcare provider. Then you're going to say, I would like to read the names of the medications for high blood pressure either I'm on or my loved one is on. And what you're going to say is it a ACE? You see on this on the presentation. Again, the presentation is on the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page. It is pinned to the top of the comments, and we are on page 4. You're going to ask the healthcare provider, is it an ACE inhibitor? And that's a long name, angiotensin converting enzyme. Don't worry about that. Is it an ACE inhibitor or is it a ARB, ARB? You're going to ask them, is it ACE or ARB? And what you're going to do then is, if it is, because what the data is showing, people who are on these types of meds, since the virus interacts with this same area that these medications work on, the outcomes are worse for these patients. So you may want to ask your healthcare provider, write the name of the drugs down or the medications down that you're on for high blood pressure. You will then ask them, is it an ACE or an ARB? And when you do, if they say, oh yeah, one is a ACE or one is an ARB, you will then ask, should we look at a different medication that will not have bad outcomes just in case I get infected? I hope that makes sense, okay? The last thing I want to talk about, these are things that you get early in the disease process. The last thing I want to talk about, what causes all of the pandemonium and people to really come out badly are, it's runaway inflammation. Now, many of us have heard of inflammation, but many of us may not know what it is. It's actually caused by our own immune system. The virus is in response to the virus. The virus can't cause inflammation. Your immune system does that in reaction to the virus. You've gotten bitten by a mosquito before. You've been hit with a ball, maybe bent your finger. You've been running and you have scraped your knee or something like that, and you'll say, oh boy, that hurts. And then you'll look at one hand or the other. You'll look at one knee versus the other. And you'll say, oh wow, this one is red. It is swollen. Ouch, it hurts. And if you use the back of your hand to feel, you may say, oh, wow, it's warm. I can't believe this is actually warm. And it's swelling. Well, that's inflammation. Inflammation literally is redness, heat, pain, swelling, and possible loss of function. So that's what that is. And what it is, when a person gets infected with the virus and they have a really, really, really bad case, the kind that could take a person out, it is runaway inflammation that's happening due to your immune system, okay? Now, that's all pre-stuff, and then you get well, oh boy, I had a bad case of it. Now I'm doing much better. Oh, thank God I'm feeling better. Yeah. Now, I told you all before, this is a new virus. It's a new strain of corona. Coronaviruses are not new. 20% of the colds every year across the globe are caused by a coronavirus. Always has been, nothing new. This coronavirus is new, this new strain. Well, what's happening is we're learning a lot more as we go. Don't know all the outcomes of everything, but we're learning as we go. So now, this is what's happening. In some patients, the doctors are saying, whoa, wait a minute, there's some things happening we didn't expect. Number one, COVID toes. Have you heard of that? Sure, I'm sure some of you have. Some people are saying, what? What is that? Well, you know, they're finding some patients, not all, are developing these red and purple bumps on their toes, on their hands, and rashes on different parts of their bodies that are due to the immune system again reacting to this virus, and it's painful. But the good thing about it, it goes away in about 2 to 3 weeks. Number two, blood clots. I told you at the top that being older than 60 is key to, that tells you that, oh boy, I'm at a higher risk if I'm above 60. Then I said also at the same time, being below 60 is key. Well, this is why. Some doctors in certain specialties, they were working on patients and they were like, oh wow, it seems as if they have blood clots or something. And then they check and they go, oh my goodness, they have blood clots. This virus is actually triggering the blood clotting mechanism. And what they're finding is, wow, some of these people are having strokes. Well, look at the age. These people are in their 30s and 40s. These are younger people. They're seeing it's happening across the board, but a large chunk is happening in the people in their 30s, relatively young people. So nobody's free. Another one is a pink eye situation that won't go away. Those in the medical field, that's conjunctivitis. But in this case, this pink eye, what's causing it is it's the virus is in the eye, and you can actually still give it off. You're shedding it, so you're still infectious, but it's in the eye and it's taking a while for it to clear. Next thing is heart issues. They're finding that the virus does attack the heart actually, and it's causing the heart cells to die, and people are resulting in congestive heart failure, for example. Okay, so these are post after you have gotten over the virus thing. So next, some people are developing lung issues, and those who are just joining, the presentation is at the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page. Go to the comment section. It is pinned to the top of the comment section. We're on page 4, almost done with page 4. So some people are damaging their lungs, and some of it is irreversible because there's scar tissue forming in the lungs and fibrous tissue, and you may be on oxygen the rest of your life. This is what they're finding. And then lastly, some people have come so close to death that they have this mental anguish that develops. They can feel the impending death, and they have to deal with this for a while. So, as I said, again, the virus is relatively new, so we're learning a lot about it as we go, all right? So, I said all of that to say you don't want to play around. When you go out, you don't want this virus. You may say, listen, I survived it, but you don't know what it's going to do to you later. You want your mask. You want your gloves. You don't want to play around when you go out. I hope that makes sense, okay? So I saw a picture of a lot of young people somewhere in Chicago having a big house party and the place was packed. We have got to be more responsible. We've got to be more responsible and take our own lives into our own hand. That makes no sense right now, right? Okay, I'm going to the next page. Page 5, disparity. I dealt with disease. Now we're going to talk disparity. And what is it? What do we mean? This is like the differences. Why are we seeing such disparity across people of different races and things like that concerning this virus? Is COVID actually the cause of this disparity, or is COVID actually showing the results of the disparity? I submit to you, it is absolutely the latter, not the former. So if you look at the page, the next page here, you'll see I listed a few things. Unaffordable health insurance. Some just have no health insurance. Inaccessibility to great health care. It's so easy to say, these people should go see the doctor. Some people don't even have bus fare. Some people have no way, they have no car, and they have no localized medical office to go to. They can't get to the hospital. Yes, it is a real issue, right? Living condition. Many of these people, as I mentioned before, they live multiple generations in one building, in one place, and they don't have single houses. So I do know of a case where a friend of mine actually is helping a family literally somewhere in the United States, not here, and a family, their brother passed away just a short time ago of COVID-19, and in their house, there's multiple generations living in one apartment building with one bathroom, and other people are showing signs of the infection also. This is playing out across the U.S. because people just don't have the means to do differently. Food. They don't have good food. They don't have access to good, high quality food. Okay, this is happening with black and brown people to a disproportional amount. Many people of the same ilk must go to work. They have to leave their home, so they can't work from home. Many of us who are professionals can work from home. Many people can't. They got to get out there. Your top people who are keeping this country working, keeping this country going, are going out of their homes. Thank God for their sacrifice. So I want to give a couple examples here as you go to the middle of the page. If you look at confirmed COVID-19 infections by race and ethnicity in the United States, you'll see a breakdown. About 45% of the cases, these are only people who have been tested, are white, 55% are non-white. So you'll see in red, here's the problem. Most states actually don't trace race. They don't track race. They test, but they don't track race. Okay? So the breakdown by race is grossly unreported. It's way down. We really have no idea how this is really breaking down. Yet, black and brown Americans are disproportionately affected. So there's something about it. We're not really testing a whole lot in the United States yet. Yet already there's a big lopsided disadvantage. Here's an example. Here's a real example. I'll use our state for an example. I want you to follow with me. Well, don't worry, I'm almost done. 15% of Illinois population is black. That means if you look top to bottom, downstate Illinois, here's northern Illinois and downstate Illinois at the tip. Of all the people here, 15% are black, right? Yet, 24% of the corona cases that have been tested are in black people. Watch this. Now, that's 24%, even though the population is just 15%. 38% of the deaths are in black people, even though the population is only 15%. But here's the thing. This is the killer, the absolute key. Of all the testing that has occurred in Illinois, think about it. Of the thousands and thousands of people tested in Illinois, only that total body of testing, only 13% of it is black. Think about that for a moment. What is that? Sorry. What does that mean? That means even though the death rate is high already, the infection rate is high already, we really don't know the full picture. We don't know who's going down tomorrow. We don't know in 2 weeks who's going to go down. We have no idea. It is very dangerous situation. And we're not helping ourselves by going out not protected. Okay, we must do this is happening in Latino population also. Kansas City is a hot spot where there's a big lopsided proportionality in the Latino population. The same thing is happening. You'll see it. Okay, I'm going to move on here to the second page of disparity. I just want to bring up something right here. I do work with this person. His name is Dr. David Ansel. He's been a mentor of mine since the 80s. He's a physician over at Rush. He was at Cook County for a long time. And believe it or not, in 2017, look what he did. And those who still don't have the presentation, it is on the Church of God of Chicago Facebook page, and it is pinned at the top of the comments. He wrote a book, and the title is The Death Gap, How Inequality Kills. This is 2017. And I want you to know he looked at an idea called structural violence, which is racism and other forms of exploitation and discrimination. And he said this leads to inequality in many aspects of life, including health and life expectancy. So he tied these underpinning forces directly to what we're seeing today. And this is 2017. Now, watch this. Just last June in 2019, he also was on with a consortium who did a study. Downtown Chicago, in the Loop area, downtown Chicago, and if you take the train just a few stops west of downtown Chicago to an area, many of some of you are not from the Chicago area, you can look this up as the Garfield Park area. You can look this up on the map. This is not a long distance from downtown Chicago. The life expectancy of people downtown Chicago is 84 years. The life expectancy of those in Garfield Park, you can see, is less than 69 years. This is just June before COVID. Now you have COVID absolutely skewing this even more. So these are the forces that are in play today with COVID. So I'm on the last slide, again, reminding us, after all that I said today, I'm back to that same slide where we need to wash our hands. We need to stay home if we can. We need to wear face masks. We need to wear our gloves. We need to keep social distancing to make sure if a person coughs or sneezes, we are far enough away. We need to wear masks. I need to wear my mask so I protect you. You need to wear your mask because you're protecting me, because really many people don't know they have it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your attention. Sorry that took a little long, but I just wanted to get through that. All right. Questions from Sister Tanya.
Okay, I have a couple from last week.
From last week, okay.
Should family and friends come to your house if they don't live with you?
Should family and friends come to your house if they don't live with you? It would do no good for people. You open your home to let people in as per normal. Again, a lot of people don't know they have the disease. They come to your house 2 weeks later. Your mom, your grandma, your dad, your granddad, you or your children go down to it. No, it's not smart right now. Okay?
And last week you were talking about disinfecting with bleach. And the question was, does it matter if you use hot or cold water when using bleach?
So any of these cleaners, it's should you use hot or cold water. With bleach and all the cleaners, warm water is good enough. It'll take care of it. The virus is fragile to bleach, so it will absolutely take care of it.
Okay, and one more question by text. What's the proper way to remove your mask to avoid contamination? And can you demonstrate it?
Okay, boy, now you all are going to make me demo it, right? So you have your mask on, right? Okay, the proper way to put it on and take it off, don't touch the front. Okay, only touch the straps, because you're breathing in and out of the front. Hopefully, if it's working right, and if you've been around people who've had something, the front of it has captured whatever it is. You're going to use your straps to take it off and throw it away when you're done. Okay?
Next question. Is it true that the virus has no DNA? And if so, will this hinder scientists from finding a cure?
The virus does have DNA, and that's what we're using to absolutely go for it. One of the leading cures actually inhibits its DNA.
Okay.
One of the leading, let me say that correctly, one of the leading treatments that's currently being tested inhibits its DNA.
Okay. Is it dangerous to wear a face mask while being physically active outdoors?
Is it dangerous to wear a face mask by being physically active? It depends on your tolerance. If it's bothering you, you have to take it off. If it's not, then you can leave it on.
Okay, if a COVID-19 testing facility opened up, should you get tested if you don't show symptoms, or should you leave it to those who are showing symptoms?
The way it's going right now, they still are leaning, in terms of COVID testing, they're still leaning toward people who are showing symptoms first. However, that's beginning to change because there are more and more tests available, more and more antibody. I wish I had time to tell you some of the antibody tests out there are a little bit, they still need some more work. So, but many of the antibody tests out there are pretty good. So you want to, right now they're still leaning toward people who are showing symptoms. However, you are getting to the point where, because they just opened one here in Aurora, where they're allowing people to just drive up and get tested.
Can you use hand sanitizer everywhere you go instead of wearing gloves?
Using hand sanitizer instead of gloves is not the best thing. If you don't have gloves, of course, you use hand sanitizer before you go touching anything else that's important. But preferably wear gloves, right? If you don't have it, Then you're going to wash, 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 then use hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer by itself is okay until you can get to a place where you can wash your hands. Wash and then sanitize, okay?
How long should you wear an N95 mask when you're outside in the public? I, they were told that you should not keep an N95 on too long.
Actually, how long should you wear N95 when you're out in public? I don't know the limitation. Somebody has to look that up, and maybe somebody can come back and let us know. I actually don't know how long you should wear it.
If you have a cough or a chest cold, should you get tested just in
If
case?
you have a cough or a chest cold, if you're feeling bad, if you're feeling worse, if you have just a regular cold, you can tell, man, yeah, I don't feel good. I'm under the weather, really cold. Yeah, no, just see what happens. And if you start like really going down and getting worse, yeah, of course, get tested. And I will stay on for another 4 minutes unless you all say differently. But go ahead.
Okay, I think that was my last
Okay.
question.
Well, that was the last question. We did well this
Unless
week. We did
someone,
well. If does anybody else have questions? If not, I am going to get ready to stop this and thank you all. And I hope it wasn't too sciencey, but I wanted you to understand before the early infection, yeah, you can get pretty sick and you get over it. However, there's some things, more and more things they're finding out that's happening to people after they get over the infection. The most important thing is I don't want the virus, and I'm sure you don't want it. So let's do what we're supposed to do,
I
okay?
think there's one more question.
One more question.
Are car rides safe?
Are car rides safe? I assume you mean, I don't know what you mean by that, but let's do two scenarios. You're in your car by yourself? Sure. You're all right. You know, you keep it wiped. So one of the things I do is I get home and I do Lysol wipes in the car and all of this to keep it clean. If you're in the car with somebody else who's been in your house with you all the time, you should still be okay. But if you let anybody else in your car, I think you know the rest. All right? Well, thank you. God bless you all, and you all have a great night. Bye-bye.